Okay. Waiting on Nameless. Let me drag him in. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Just want me to do a sound check on you. Can you just say a few things?
Wait, what?
That's perfect.
Okay.
That should work out. Alright, hold on. Let me turn myself on. Now, I saw Beast's suggestion in the Survivor discussion channel that there should be 3 people on this. So I've taken the liberty of adding 2 face cams of myself. So we'll get up to 3. Yeah. Alright, I think we're all set.
Cool, cool. Wait, are you streaming right now?
Yeah, I'm live.
Oh, okay.
Alright, here, I guess we do clean break for the upload. Ready, break. Welcome to Triball Council, the first ever TagPro Survivor reaction show. So we're breaking some new ground here, which is fantastic. With me, who'll be my co-host throughout the season, Nameless.
Hello.
Good to see you. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's good to see you and hear your voice.
So before we jump into, so there's been 3 episodes released. Before we jump into all of that, I actually did want to ask you a question first. Like, when I think TagPro All-Stars, TagPro Survivor All-Stars, you're probably top of the list, and we don't see you on the cast for this season. Why is that?
Oh man, so when Sadness, he asked me about it, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. Mainly because I can't do it in a healthy way. Like some of these people, they're able to like control themselves and like not obsess about it. But me, I obsess over it. Like I try and start out by not getting too involved, and then I'm just sucked in immediately. Like I'll be thinking about freaking deciphering some kind of clue at 3 o'clock in the morning, like waking up from my sleep. So I can't. I needed to be responsible and not obsess over it for for however long it would take.
Yep, makes sense.
And then, but like the day that like he was inviting people to the server, I guess, like I was having serious FOMO. Like I would have, like if he would have allowed it, I would have just jumped in.
Yeah. Well, I think you would have had a lot of fun just like looking at this cast, and let me just read off the cast to start. I mean, incredible. We'll go top to bottom as it's listed in episode 1. Active, played in season 3, season 4, was a close ally of yours, I think, in both seasons.
Yeah.
ASAP, first ever runner-up, played in season 1 and season 3. Bambi, season 3, Beast Mode season 1, Bert and Ball of Fame both in season 4, Bud in season 1, Koo season 2, D-Rex season 4, a winner in season 4, Blob also in season 4, Flies played a couple, season 1 and season 4, Flaccid Trip season 1, Glizzy, Freak, Rena, Robert A. Russ, Steadman, and Timmy. So just right off the jump, as I'm reading off that cast list, I mean, for incredible cast list. I thought Sadness, and I guess it was just Sadness that assembled this together, right? So I thought he did a really awesome job.
It's kind of, it is a little OPH heavy, like as far as people that have been connected. So like once I saw that, I was thinking, man, I kind of missed out here. But then again, there's also like the anti-OPH side of things too, which I mean, I guess we're not going through the episodes just yet, but like you kind of see it becoming a concern, you know?
Yeah, one of the first things I thought, that's interesting, you see it as such an OPH slanted cast. One of the first things I thought was, without you there, it felt like there was potential for ASAP just to kind of run roughshod over everyone. It seems like every season he plays, and every season you play, like you two are the number 1, number 2, both guys to get, but also the ones like steering the game. and
Yeah.
I didn't really see a clear challenger to ASAP for that role. Just coming in episode 1. I don't know if you
Yeah,
agree
I
with that or
mean,
not.
I think at this point ASAP has a pretty big target on his back. So, like, I'm not so sure about that anymore. Like, and you gotta always be concerned about ASAP because he's pretty he thinks deeply about the strategy aspect, and he's pretty social. So you always have to be concerned about him. But I mean, at this point, I think everybody knows he's a threat. So I can't imagine that he'll be he'll be there for a long time. Maybe he will. I don't know. But yeah, I think everyone is going to be gunning for him eventually. And you
Yeah,
kind of see it like with Flaccid. Like I don't know. I don't know how you want to go through it all, but like, do you want to like go through the tribes? Like
yeah. I've actually I took a screenshot of the tribe. So why don't you go ahead and describe kind of how Sadness set up tribes for this season? I'll pull up that image.
so it's split up into 4 tribes, which I think is pretty unique. Like I wouldn't have expected that at all. So that's interesting, but the way that they I guess they decided the captains by the most desirable and the least desirables.
All right.
So was that Rena and Fly that were the most desirable?
Correct.
And then Ball of Fame and D-Rec the least desirables?
That's right.
But like speaking of ASAP, the way that tribe is set up, like Fly, ASAP, Flaccid, Freak, Lizzie, like I think Flaccid is kind of in an interesting spot because he has like 2 shields of ASAP and Fly. Like both of them, like when I look at the cast, I think those are the 2 people you want to be concerned about and um kind of go for before they pick up too much momentum, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So you mentioned them. I think Estrella really points back to what you were saying about the OPH slant. Like I see
Yeah.
Rena and Active right off the bat on that tribe. That's a really strong duo to me. Um, I think Stedman's shown he's been willing to work with just about anyone.
Yeah.
So, and I think Robiny has consistently been more of a follower in his past appearances. So that felt like a really strong duo for me with Rena and Active. The
Yeah. Well, also like Studman and Rena were super close in season 3. So, like I would consider them just as strong of a duo as her and Active. So,
you know,
um, but of course, like I think Stedman has like a further reach than both of them. Like I think he could be best friends with pretty much anybody on here. Like that's just kind of how he is. Like he makes you feel good.
you know,
So,
I thought I won't even try to pronounce the tribe name. The Yellow Tribe was such a random assortment of personalities to me.
I would want to kill myself if I was on that tribe.
Well, just explain to me, what do you hate about it?
Oh, all right. So Beast, like, all right, Beast is pretty cool. He's fun to play with. Like, he's fun to have around. He's the only one on there that I would even enjoy talking to. Ball of Fame, like, I didn't really enjoy talking to him in my limited DMs. Well, I guess last season. And then Bert, like, he's just kind of. I don't even know how to describe Bert in a way that kind of shares my feelings on him. Like, he's alright. He's just like such a dry personality, like discussing this stuff. And then, but like I have issues with Button just from like CRC stuff, and I just the whole well the whole Chat GPT thing that uh him and Ball of Fame like with the whole wheel, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that tribe is something.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't even mention Coos, which might prove prescient here in a few minutes. And then anything about Green's tribe that jumps out to you off the bat?
Oh, I mean, you have D-Rec and Blob together against Spheroid. Like, I mean, Steroid was there the whole season. Last season, like he's basically in with them anyway because
Mm-hmm.
they were there the whole time. So like that's a strong trio. It's not a duo. It's a trio. And then Bambi, like Steroid is the only one that's successfully captained Bambi ever. So like the bond there's as strong as it can be, I guess. And then Russ, like it's kind of it kind of looks strange having Russ there, but yeah, that's an OPH tribe right there minus Russ.
Yeah, and just to key in on Russ for a second, so obviously won the inaugural season. I guess that was 2 years ago, whenever it was. Seems like the game from season one even to now, it's only been 4 or 5 seasons. I think
Yeah.
people are metagaming a lot harder. The social game is a lot more important. So I was really curious to see how Russ was going to navigate his spot here now that it's not just hit your wagon the ASAP, you know?
I mean, like I don't think that's when I read season one, like as it came out, like I kind of thought that's what he was doing, and I didn't really give him enough credit for like the way that he was able to snake into all these different dynamics and take advantage of it. So like socially, like
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably the best one because like you really can't help but but like him like when you start talking to him. So I think even though like on the outside I would expect like Russ to kind of be a target, like an OPH target in a way, like I don't know. I think he could kind of fit in with anybody. So Um, I mean, any kind of win, anybody that has won or gotten far, like even if they haven't really done anything to do it, like I won't mention names,
No, of course not.
um, but in Russ's case, I think he's done a lot, and like I don't know, I think he'll be able to last a while.
Okay, and then last thing I wanted to, I guess, touch on these tribes. You talked about Ceroid a little bit already, but I guess correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you talked about Ceroid being as part of a trio before, but this is the first time he's not running the game, correct? I'm not wrong in that.
Oh,
Yes.
that's correct.
Yeah. So really curious, and I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but like he's seen the confessionals of all these players over the past 4 or 5 seasons. I think he's probably got more insight than anyone else into how they think and operate. So I'm just really curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's kind of I always kind of joked around with him like it, if he was ever in a season, I would think that he would be a tempting target, like first round. He's always wanted to do it, so it's kind of like the funny thing to just eliminate him right away.
Yeah.
I mean, it is spheroid after all, so like seeing that happen would kind of be hilarious just to witness the fallout from that. But yeah, he's seen all the confessionals, but it's not just that either. Like he's probably interacting with people in the confessionals too. He's trying to
True.
like ask questions and in a sense like he's already kind of got a certain level of built-in trust from even people that he doesn't really associate with outside of this. So I think that's a pretty big advantage for him.
I would agree. Okay, I think I guess maybe dive into episode one a little bit. We can, I guess maybe touch on the fire coin aspect of this now. It got revealed, I don't know, halfway
Yeah.
through the episode, right around the time of the immunity challenge. So another wrinkle that these players have to navigate. You get essentially one coin to nullify a vote against anyone, whether that be yourself or another player. And it sounded like there were some additional coins scattered throughout the beaches, so you could maybe find some additional voting power that way. I guess, what were your initial thoughts? We're already in 4 tribes. We'll get to it, but it ends up being the two tribes go to tribal together, and now there's this extra wrinkle of these nullified votes. So a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I still don't know if I like it or not.
What's the
I don't
take
know
for
if
not
it's.
liking it?
Nothing really. Like
Okay.
I don't have a strong reasoning behind it. Just like it kind of seems like a gimmick, but no, I could see the potential to use it, and it'd be a huge deal. Like it could completely change the outcome of a vote. Whether we see that happen, I don't know. We'll see, but um, yeah, I don't know. Like, can people? I guess if people find a random fire coin, not everybody knows.
That's right.
Or do. Okay, so I mean, I guess it is an interesting advantage. I could see it becoming really powerful later in the game if people manage to hold on to it. But then I guess there is the aspect of, do you want to try and bait people like at certain times to get rid of their fire coins?
Yep.
So I don't know. I guess it is interesting. I just don't know how I feel about it exactly.
Okay. Well, I think we're maybe handicapping ourselves trying to talk about it without talking about the actual tribals themselves. So I guess let's progress a little bit. So our first episode, immunity challenge. Interesting challenge. It's a bomb tower. You got to try to cap X amount of times in 7 minutes, and seems you add up all your scores, so on and so on. Ends up being blue and red, again, whose tribe names I'm not going to remember nor try to pronounce. They end up, or excuse me, red and yellow end up with the fewest amount of points, and they're the ones that end up going to tribal here. So interesting first tribal to set things up. You got Fly, ASAP, FT, Freak, and Glizzy on one side, and then you've got Ball, Fame, Burt, Button, Coos, and Beast on the other. So that initial yellow tribe we talked about, that seemed just kind of randomly thrown together, and
Yeah.
the players like themselves randomly operating. Button with his chat GPT stuff, then Ball of Fame with the wheel. Initially that seemed like just an easy vote for someone on Yellow's tribe to me. And we can kind of get into the discussions that are in the episode here, but that seemed like the initial reaction from the majority of the players. I guess, was that when you read this and you see those two tribes are going, is that your first reaction? You're like, oh, this is an easy vote for someone on yellow here?
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of hard because you never know. You never, you just never know, because like on one side of things, like Ball of Fame doing the wheel thing, it's pretty annoying, but like he's not going to be a threat. So do you really want to target him? I don't know. So if I'm red there, I probably tell everyone like, hey, let's just get rid of this guy. I'll tell everyone on yellow that, so they vote him. And then if I'm red, I want to take out somebody that's actually a threat. So if you get like the 4 people on yellow voting Ball of Fame, and you have all 5 reds in agreement, like to vote Button or like Beast Mode or something, that someone that'll actually be a threat, then I think that's like a pretty obvious play. But yeah, as we see, like things get complicated and things change so fast when it comes to tribal too. Like you might have a plan like leading up to it, and then an hour away you're checking with everyone, everything seems good, and then 10 minutes to go and everything changes. So
Yeah,
you just never know.
I do want to mention something complicating this first tribal. So Button does have an idol in his possession. We read that. while these tribal discussions are taking place.
Right,
So
right.
he's found an idol. Um, that complicates matters. There was some discussion around Button during this vote. Seems like the idol probably dissuaded some people from moving that way, at least for now. And it really, I think, came down to like I felt like people were just kind of coming down to like the path of least resistance, and it was Beast Mode who didn't even attend the immunity challenge, which is like a classic for TagPro Survivor. If you don't attend, you get booted. And then Koos, who really didn't have a strong connection with anyone, and that's kind of where people were leaning, I think, fairly early on. And it feels like, especially in these early votes, it's while what you're saying about maybe trying to get someone who's a bigger threat now makes sense. It feels like so often people opt to just go in with what's easy, and I think that's why we saw both Beast and Koos kind of get floated there.
Yeah, that's true. Looking back at the other seasons, like even though there always is a potential for a bigger move, it's always the easiest ones. But I wonder what it is about Kuz, like what made him an easy target.
Well, it seemed like, just reading people's confessionals in the episode, it seemed like really no one had a close relationship with him outside of Beast Mode.
Yeah.
And it's true that like Koos hasn't been super active in TagPro, I'd say, and even when he is active, I don't know that he's forming a ton of relationships with people. It felt like he was just on the back foot as far as relationships went to me.
Yeah, that might. Oh, I remember when I played with Kuz, and he was one of the people that was kind of more difficult to talk to. I mean, he would always respond and stuff. It's just like I didn't get anything extra. Like I didn't get like the feeling that we were close. But reading back at the episodes of the previous seasons, like it seems like nobody else was either with him.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So it might be maybe it's the social aspect, I guess. And then Beast, of course, not being there. I wonder if he could have done something if he wasn't having a life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and well, so I think reading through it, Koos is like fairly sensitive to the fact that he's up at least a potential vote, and he tries to float Freak, which I think Beast is relatively on board with, but to your point, not really around to help push it across the finish line, it seemed. I think at this point we can read out the tribal results, although we've kind of intimated it already. Koos does end up being our first eliminated, and I'm going to reveal my elimination list here. So Koos is the first to go. It's he had 6 votes out of 10 on him, one of which nullified by his own fire coin. So he saw that coming, didn't help him out. And then the remaining votes split between Freak and Beast, one of those being Ball Fame's wheel vote, so I hesitate to even count that. So I think fairly convincingly Koos here, and I think it was just the lack of relationships that really screwed him over.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, like, if Beast was there, maybe, like, that's another vote that could have gone Freak's way. He probably could have brought Glizzy in. I mean, you never know. Like, things could have changed if he was there. I think Beast is the one person that could probably swing something if he had enough time and the availability to do it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna surprise you with something here, but like I want to do a kind of like a favorite moment from each episode. So take a few seconds and maybe think if you have one from here. For me, from episode 1, seeing Spheroid finally get to play the game, that to me it was really cool to spend all this time running the TagPro Survivor, and then finally get a chance to play it himself. I thought that was really awesome. So that was my favorite
that's
episode
pretty cool.
moment.
My favorite moment was also spheroid related. When he's talking to Bambi about the challenge, and he's like, "Anyways, I'm not here to berate you." After like however many long messages of berating him.
It's so good.
And then also like Direct not knowing about Bambi messing up like at first is just classic Direct, and I found that hilarious because that's kind of a throwback to last season when he didn't realize I voted him in one of the rounds and never did realize it. So
all right, good. I think episode 1, good recap. We can move on to episode 2. So we start off, and I love Beast's confessionals. I don't know how much Spheroid is edited in them, but I always love the way he writes. He is distraught that Koos is gone. Of that yellow tribe, he was his big number 1. So instantly that makes me concerned for Beast, right? And then you wonder what he's going to do at future tribals to try to maybe ingratiate himself with other tribes. So that was an interesting note for me. And then it seemed like everyone else kind of took it as par for the course. Again, Koos seemed like the path of least resistance, and everyone was kind of fine with that.
Right.
So nothing too crazy, I thought, in these first couple of pages. Unless you saw anything interesting back in those first couple of paragraphs, I was going to move on to the reward and the immunity challenges.
I would say like the thing that stuck out to me, not necessarily like the reflection of the vote, but like when you saw some conversations on the immune beach, like Robiny and Stedman, like you kind of see something going there, and like them getting this closer bond, which might end up being important to look for, because you have like active in Rena Stedman. Now Stedman has Robiny. Like we're gonna see like where Robiny's gonna go, because he's gonna go somewhere, and like what he did in our season, like he was gonna latch on and I guess go all the way with whoever. So I wonder if he's gonna try and do the same thing here, and if it's gonna be with Stedman or if it's gonna be Rena or who it's gonna be. So that's just something interesting to look for, I think.
Yeah, and another thing I guess I glossed over, I want to go back to, we see our kind of first discussion from Rena talking about Spheroid as a potential close ally of hers.
Yeah.
A cross-tribe ally at that. I don't know why, like that. They both made it seem like such a surprise that they would be allies. I don't know. To me, and maybe it's just the OPH association, that felt like a not so surprising pairing to me.
Yeah, it's not a surprise at all.
But they both seem to think it was like some like insane pair that no one would ever suspect. So I guess we'll see if that holds. But to me, that like seemed like not fairly obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not like they're. I don't think they're fooling anybody by it. Like they're wanting to keep it under wraps, or it's going to be a surprise. Like nobody's going to have any idea about it. But like it's pretty obvious that those two tribes are pretty compatible, and they're going to work together if it comes down to it. So I don't know. That's and also we saw that Spheroid got a fire coin, right? Like,
yes, he did find an additional fire coin. Yes. So
do we know how they find them? Like, is it puzzle related? Like, yeah, do we have that information?
So someone, and I don't remember which episode it was, someone mentioned searching a grid.
Okay.
So I believe I never played the season I played. Well, there may have been a grid later on. I didn't make it that far, but yeah, it seems to be a grid thing for these fire coins and other challenges or rewards, I guess. Flaccid, I guess you're allowed to share if you'd like. Beast Mode said it's a chance, so I guess that's equivalent to the grid in my mind. Okay, so moving on to the reward challenge. I guess when you played, so I always thought these reward challenges were, I guess, kind of silly. Like this
Yeah.
one is you open Sadness opens the Discord channel. If you're the last person to comment on it before it closes, you get a point. And like it felt like these reward challenges were they were more about just being able to be online than actually any sort of skill, which I don't really love.
Yeah.
But I guess it is what it is.
And a lot of times, like the rewards, it's funny when a tribal win reward, and then it ends up not even helping them in immunity. So
Yeah.
there's like so many times that happened. But yeah, I've never really been a fan of the rewards either.
Yeah, so Flaccid and Stedman both confirmed. Yeah, so grid 10 by 12, and then some advantages royal places on the grid. So about what we thought. Okay, so it ends up being that yellow and red get their first reward challenge win. They get some advantage in their tree mail, and then we move on to the immunity challenge. Not a whole lot of discussion. I think prior to that immunity challenge, there's concerns about Adarsh, or Active, I guess, being particularly quiet recently.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. I mean, but I think to anyone who knows, like, he's clearly in Rena's pocket, and it doesn't really matter, I guess, if he's talking or not. I think everyone knows that he and Rena are voting together with whatever they're doing.
Right.
But other than that, nothing too interesting. This is the first time we see people get fed up with Button and his ChatGPT stuff. Again, Beast is uncensored in how he expresses his frustration, which is entertaining.
Oh, I did like that part, yeah.
Yeah. And then an interesting note from Russ in his discussions. So he's spinning this, supposedly, we'll see how effective it is, but supposedly spinning this story that he's kind of on the outs with Green, which when we were talking about episode 1 and how the tribes were formed, that's kind of the stance that we take in anyway. Like, we kind of thought he was an unnatural fifth to that tribe. So I think Russ is saying he's spinning a story. It might not even be a story, it might just be true. But I think it's interesting that Russ recognizes that that's a plausible story to sell people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he's able to slither his way in. And,
that's right.
Like, use all these things. Like, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think we see that that's not the case though. Like, he's not on the outs because D-Rec was really excited to work with and Spheroid, of course. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Nothing too much crazy, I guess. I mean, more from Spheroid, just like hating Bambi for not being able to do anything right. I mean, but moving on to the immunity challenge. So there was some strategy involved here. So you ended up rating 4 members on your tribe, rank 4 to 1, I suppose, or however they did it. I think they called it 2 to 4, something, whatever. It was 4 groups, and you ranked them based on, what you perceived as skill, and these tribes got into discussions about whether they should try to game their rankings to maybe form some more advantageous matchups, without really having an idea of what the immunity challenge was. And I don't know if I ever got much to say about that, but it's always fun to watch how people try to game it. Like, they have an idea of what's going to happen, and they're trying to game it to potentially spin an advantage their way. I think that's always an interesting discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty... You always kind of question everything. Like, there's the strategy in the game, and then there's, like, the strategy against the game host, like what the instructions are, and kind of reading in between the lines and see what you could do, anything to get an advantage.
Yeah. So this immunity challenge ends up being 2v2 I don't even know how to describe it. A really small capture the flag map that's 2v2, and they take these these groups of 4 from all the different tribes, and they rotate pairings until they play all their possible combinations. And if you win your individual match, you get a point for your tribe, and so on and so on. So we play pretty uneventfully, ranks 4, 3, and 2. And once we get to rank 1, this is where kind of we go full tilt into I don't know how to describe it, but D-Rec and Spheroid kind of get together and start discussing how they want to play this rank 1 battle in order to pit 2 tribes together that they want to go to tribal. So again, it's more of that I guess meta strategy discussion, trying to throw a challenge or maybe not throw a challenge or do a challenge a certain way to get the results that you want. Ends up being that D-Reg, it's never quite clear whether it's intentionally going 0-3 in his matchups or intentionally. He makes it sound intentional, and they get the result that they want. It ends up being red and blue going to tribal on a tiebreaker. So maybe a little too close for comfort for D-Rec and Spheroid, but they get the matchup they want. So now it's red and blue going to tribal. And an interesting. Well, I guess let me back up. What do you think of the idea between the idea of these being the 2 tribes that they want to go? Did that strike you as the correct read from D-Rec and Spheroid?
Wait, what did they want?
So they wanted,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
they
didn't.
wanted red and blue. So that was Fly ASAP, Flaccid Trip Freak, Lizzie versus Rena Active, Steadman, Timmy, and Robiny. So those are the 2 they wanted, and the idea being they thought red, so that's the Fly ASAP tribe, was such a strong group, and they wanted to try to attack their
Right.
numbers.
Yeah, I think it was fine. Because I'm pretty sure that, well, clearly Spheroid and D-Rec have been tied with Rena, so I'm pretty sure that like that's not a surprise, and they probably talked about it. Um, I mean, it's not clear in the episode, but I kind of think there is more involved than what we see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure they kind of discussed going after Red.
Yeah, I think I like the matchup for them. The reasoning made sense to me. I think you've got a lot of powerful players on red, so I understand the idea behind trying to weaken them potentially as a result of this tribal. And then I guess on the flip side, you send your close ally in Rena the tribal, but you feel pretty good about her chances. There's a lot of people who, if it turned out to be just an easy vote, like Timmy and Robiny are both like easy vote candidates to me, and it feels like Rena's pretty safe no matter what. So I thought it was a smart play from them. As we
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, I still don't think that they're trying to, like, I don't think they're trying to get rid of Robiny there or Timmy. I'm not really sure. But I think they just think that they'll be able to take out a Red.
Mm-hmm.
So, now which Red are they thinking? Like, maybe they're thinking they'll be able to get ASAP or Fly or Flaccid or someone. I'm not really sure, but it's clearly like if I'm any of those tribes, like I want to take out somebody on Red,
Yep.
except maybe Glizzy.
Okay. So moving on to, I guess we talked the immunity beach a little bit. We get another long confessional from Russ saying he's hitched his wagon to spheroid and beast mode. So again, I say again. So he's reaching across tribe lines, which he said he would, but still kind of maintaining a relationship with spheroid as we talked about earlier. So I guess continuing the slither is maybe the way that you'd put it.
Have you noticed the spheroid confessionals? Like how much wordier they are than
Absolutely.
everyone else.
I know
And
Beast was
then the
doing his
screenshots.
main character tracker, and I think Steroid's like through the roof, man. It's insane.
I mean, he should do it by words, like word count, and I'm sure he's probably double everyone else. And then if you include the screenshots too, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you look at this Immune Beach discussion, they put Steroid in the single space so that he can
Yes.
get more words in. It's classic, dude. Oh man. All right,
But
so
then he
then
also has like the Russ making sure that he mentioned like it hitching the wagon to spheroid,
that's
of
right,
course.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So even when he's not, yeah, he's always in there. Yeah.
Uh,
All right, so then at the Tribal Beach, a few different discussions going on here. Robiny is a name that's floated early on. Glizzy comes up. A lot of discussion between Rena and Glizzy. I don't know. I don't know if anything like super strikes me here. Is any thoughts on these Tribal Beach discussions?
I mean, it's always so kind of like I don't know. It looks chaotic in
Yes,
a way.
absolutely. What's chaotic? Yes.
Um, so like I kind of wonder, was the vote really was it really chaotic, or is it just dramatic effect? You know what I mean? Because I remember reading some of the other seasons, and it kind of seemed like, there's no idea of what's going to end up happening, but it was such a straightforward vote.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if it's the same here, or just like throwing out names to see what happens. Uh, I've done that before just to see like, what somebody will respond to, like to a certain name. Just fishing for information, kind of. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's nothing really that stands out except, yeah, I guess I shouldn't go into the vote yet, but yeah, well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing really crazy.
Yeah,
Nothing really
yeah,
crazy.
so I think coming into the actual reveal of the votes, for me, it was like, okay, Robney's got a good chance of going home. He's trying to save himself, so I think I saw Freed's name floated as a way to save himself there. And even Glizzy kind of got some discussion, so not like really clear coming into the vote who was coming out, but I think a good sense of the names at stake here. And then the vote ends up being I would call it relatively close. Freak does end up getting voted out. It's 5 votes for Freak, 4 votes for Robiny. Largely broke along tribe lines. I think the one thing to know about the vote, and we'll get into this as we get into episode 3, is that Timmy ends up voting for herself, and it's because her tribe did not clue her in on what the plan was, and that's going to have some implications as we move forward, I'm sure. It was.
Yeah, that's one of the dumbest things that I've heard from Timmy, and I've heard a lot. So, like, at that point, why? Why do you vote for yourself? Why aren't you going to the other side and saying, hey, I'm clearly on the outs. Tell me who to vote for, and I'm with you guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, uh, that's just, it's just so stupid.
I mean, I don't disagree, and I don't know if they mentioned this episode, maybe it's at the top of the next one, but supposedly in the last like 5 minutes or so, someone does message her from her tribe and say the plan is to go Freak now. Now that clearly doesn't end up mattering to her, as we'll find out. But yeah, just weird. And then the other thing I think to pull from this vote is that Glizzy's the only member on Red to go Freak as well. So he goes turncoat on his tribe, and that's potentially a good way to get yourself eliminated from the game later on.
Yeah.
So what'd you make of his move there? Like, I guess I'm not super familiar, but like I guess he framed it as he's had some past beef with Freak from a previous season, and that's what he was worried about.
He didn't really have past beef with Freak. Like, Freak wasn't really all that talkative to a lot of people, and Glizzy and Freak were never really that close anyway. Like Glizzy always saw Freak as an obstacle with Inspire because he knew those two were close. So there was no real beef. Like Freak never screwed Glizzy over. Like Glizzy kind of screwed Freak over, but yeah, there was no real beef. But like I guess he thought that I don't know. I think he's a little antsy because it's obvious like he's not in the top 3 on his tribe.
No.
So he thinks that he needs to make some sort of move and build relationships across tribes, which makes sense in a way, but at the same time, like these early votes, you kind of have to stay strong with your tribe. Uh, he's definitely got a huge target on his back. So, but also a thing that I saw, it seemed like Stedman was talking about steering a potential vote away from Fly. Like there was discussion on Fly, and then I think Stedman got involved in some way and like steered it away from her.
Yeah, it's hard to parse for me, I'll be honest with you. And I don't remember if we gave some more clarity on that in episode 3, but we'll touch on it in a moment.
Yeah.
I guess, unless you've got anything to say about the vote, I'd like to start with my favorite moment from the episode. For me, it's the message where Russ is on the immunity beach and he's talking about hitching his wagon to zero to beast mode. The second half of that confessional is some weird rant against ASAP for ruining some tournament he ran a few months ago. That was the funniest thing. It's so good. I can't believe he's holding that grudge still.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I would say that has to be my favorite part as well. Because I kind of assumed like he would try and link up with ASAP, and this just really makes me enjoy him so much more as a character because he has this grudge. So like I'm all for it because like he's trying to get in with the OPHers,
Yep.
and he's also like anti ASAP right now with this insane grudge. Like I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really good. Maybe I'll read an excerpt from the confessional here. I just think it's really good. Honestly, it sucks to see or organize anything for TagPro, and I understand that ASAP's done an insane amount of stuff for the league over 7+ years, and he's truly now burnt out from it. But I don't know what to tell you. When your team is 2 rookies and Marcus Yellow, you might actually just need to be the adult in the room. It kills me, dude. Anyway.
Well, my favorite part of it was he's a great guy and hilarious and charismatic, blah, blah, blah. I want nothing but good things to happen to him. Yeah. But fuck him for causing a ruckus during the West Coast Derby. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was great.
Let me bring in something from chat here, and I guess we'll maybe do this intermittently. I'm trying to figure out how best to incorporate chat from the players here. I think Beast is moderating, so I don't think we're spoiling anything. But so Stead says from his point of view, Arena got Ngozi on board to vote with us, but was waiting to hear if Ngozi preferred Fly or Freak. And as it was nearing the vote, wound up being Freak, which was Stead's preference, and then seemed to be Ngozi's preference too. So I guess Stead not super involved in swaying that vote. I guess maybe ended up being Glizzy's preference that kind of decided settling on Freak there.
A little disappointing. I guess I gave too much credit to Stedman there, but that's kind of weird. For I guess Glizzy and Fly kind of had some conversations and stuff, but like I don't know. I think at that point you kind of want to kind of even the dynamic on that tribe because like you have that 3 strong against the 2 outsiders. I don't know. I think it was a bad move to go for Freak. Not necessarily a bad move to work with another tribe, but he picked the wrong person to go for.
So in his stead, would you have gone? Like, instead said Fly was the other potential there. Is that the direction you would have gone?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would go Fly or ASAP.
Yeah, that's like it didn't serve me well, but that was kind of my view on it when I played. It's like, and this is maybe a simplistic way of looking at it, but I always thought it was like, why why not take out these more powerful quote unquote players when you have the chance? And Glizzy had a really golden opportunity here. It seemed like to do that. I'm surprised
Yeah.
that if he had the ability to that he didn't. That kind of shocked me. So
Well,
I'm
you're
with you.
saying like you didn't have the chance.
No, I
Like
didn't. Well, I tried that. Yeah, I
so,
tried.
but you thought you kind of did, and then but the thing with Glizzy is like he had the chance, but
Yes,
just didn't
yes.
realize it.
Yeah,
So,
true.
which
That's a
in a
good
way
point.
I think is worse.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see how it serves him as we move on to episode 3. As we move to episode 3, do you want to say that Beast Mode's requesting more radioactive takes from you?
Dude, I'm trying. You know, I gotta be careful here.
Yeah. All right, moving
Like,
on.
let's see, like, there's nothing that crazy yet.
No,
Like,
there's not.
yeah, he was dumb, and like, Timmy was dumb too. But like, it's not. There's nothing crazy. Like, nothing so offensive to get a radioactive take.
Fair enough.
Not yet, at least.
All right, episode 3. So this is where we kind of get Glizzy's point of view on the decision to flip on his tribe and go freak, and the fallout from that. We get a bunch of DMs with Flaccid Trip. An interesting one to note on Flaccid Trip's DM with Glizzy. Seems like Flaccid's less upset about Glizzy turning on the tribe and more so just upset that he didn't know about it. And they kind of intimates at the end of that screenshot that at some point he knows ASAP's gotta go.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind later. We won't see it kind of touched on again, I think, in this episode, but something that keep an eye on as we get into later episodes that I think obviously so Flaccid recognizes he can't just let ASAP be. So something to watch out for as we move on.
Well, I don't know if it's like cut off, like, but if I'm Glizzy right there, like, I would be telling Flaccid, "I'm with you. I'll help you,
Yeah.
however you need," and like secure him as an ally. Because if Flaccid thinks like he's gonna be his number one or something, or somebody that he could use to turn on ASAP, that's pretty useful. That gets him, that kind of takes him from being the obvious on the outs person on that tribe. So
We see some additional DMs with the other members of his tribe. I don't think anyone's really convinced that it was a move for his own skin. Taking out Freak, it seems like everyone's fairly skeptical of that. Fly particularly feels betrayed. It seems. ASAP, always have a hard time deciphering how he truly feels because he memes so much. But it seems like he's not super sold on Glizzy either after that. So some instant fallout for Glizzy that could hurt him later.
yeah, I mean, ASAP remembers how Glizzy was season 3, and like Glizzy was obsessed with ASAP, like wanted to take him out. Everything was a conspiracy, like like ASAP was still in, he didn't have an idol, he didn't have this, blah blah blah, we just need to vote for him. Like he was so bent on going for ASAP, and like if I'm ASAP, I can't trust Glizzy, like right at the beginning. Like the reason, like if I'm ASAP, I want to get Glizzy on the tribe so I could vote him out.
Yeah.
So that might have been some of the strategy behind it. But yeah, like that's definitely in ASAP's mind. So
Yep. So then the other fallout from this vote on Blue's tribe was that Timmy feels like super disrespected, and this is an early contender for favorite moment of the episode. The keep Timmy out of the loop group chat. thought that was pretty funny. So she's obviously pissed about not being included in the discussions that go freak. And what's interesting about Timmy, I don't know that she really has the um, maybe the social capital is the way I want to put it to really do anything about it, which is a weird spot to be in. And I guess a not good spot to be in, right? It seems like no one cares too much about her, and as we read these initial discussions after the eliminations, it seems like she's a name that's already starting to get floated. So I
Yeah.
think you're really concerned about Timmy as you start to read this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of seems like everybody feels bad about it, and I don't think they should feel bad about it because it was the right call. Like, you look back at the previous season, she was left out of I don't even know how many votes, and there's a reason for it. Like, you
You know,
know what? Like, you really can't clue her in. But like, this is the whole personality in Survivor. Like, she's she's fine if she leaves. She doesn't care if she gets voted. She's tired of it, and everybody's fake. Oh, woe is me. I'm so, whatever. That's how it is. Like, throughout the entire thing, always.
you
So,
know,
um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of boring for me to see that whole plot happen again. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they should feel bad. She probably does seem like she's kind of on the outs. Um, but at the same time, like, she should have reached out to the other tribe in the last one. um, I don't really know what to say about that, because why do you vote for yourself instead of trying to take matters into your own hands? Like,
that's a good question. Yeah, so that's Timmy. There's some additional um, I guess damage control with Rena talking about why she didn't include Timmy. I think none of it's super interesting. We move on to the immune beach. Button is just absolutely distraught that everyone knows about his idol. Like, he thought Freak wasn't just gonna spill it to everyone. So now we're in an interesting spot where everyone knows that Button's got this idol. Um, and
how, wait, how do they find that? Like, how did they know?
so
Like, how did Freak catch him?
yeah, so they phrase it, and I don't quite understand the mechanism, but it was phrased in the one of the episodes as Freak caught him catching the idol. How that works mechanically, I'm not sure, but somehow Freak caught him finding it.
Yeah.
And then once Freak knows, he starts talking to everyone. They're missing beaches, and now suddenly the other tribes know. And so that's always an interesting situation to me. Like, it seems like um, it seems like often, and I'm not a huge Survivor watcher, but even in like TagPro Survivor, it seems like if you know a player's got an idol, they're almost like they're obviously a huge target, and it seems like fairly often they end up getting eliminated with the idol in hand. Like
I
they
don't
think
know.
they think having the idol is protection enough, and then that often leads them to like overextend and not actually worry about themselves. I don't know if you agree with that, but I wonder if that's gonna be something that comes up for Button down the line. Now that everyone kind of knows he has this advantage.
I mean, I think what tends to happen is, like, I mean, you have some of the episodes in the past where people went home with an idol, but I don't really think it. If you use it right, like, I don't know. There were so many times I said that I had an idol and I didn't have an idol,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times I did have an idol. Like, nobody knew the difference. So, like, I kind of was able to use that to my advantage, and ASAP used it to his advantage in season 3. Like, everybody thought he had an idol for, I don't know, 5 or 6 rounds,
Mm-hmm.
and then it came out that he didn't have one. So, and that's probably what kept him alive. Like, there's no way that he wouldn't have been put up for a vote before then if um if we if we knew he didn't have an idol.
Right, yeah, for sure.
So it's like, yeah, you want to, if you see somebody that has an idol, you kind of want to burn it. Like, you want to make it so they don't have it. But I don't know. I think you kind of maybe bait them into playing it without actually taking them out.
Right.
Um,
We did get some answers from chat here on how exactly that worked. So it sounds as if if you search the same spot on on the grid, you can see if someone finds an advantage in any of the 10 spots in the column that you're searching in, which is an interesting wrinkle. So I guess Freak had searched in that same column that the immunity idol was in that Button found.
wait, so how many columns are there?
It's 10 by 12, 12 columns.
Okay.
You know.
So it's only if you search in the same column. Okay.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so thank you for the clarification, FT. Yeah, so anyway, so we get through that. We get some more spheroid confessional, shocker. And then D-Right kind of just talk about how he's sowing the seeds for a future swap or merge. He takes advantage of his time on the Immune Beach to speak with some other people, which all sounds very reasonable to me.
Yeah.
So then we move on to the reward challenge. Looks like Sadness ripped off the game from Squid Game. I've never seen either season of Squid Game, so I didn't recognize it.
Same.
But essentially musical chairs, as far as I can tell, with a twist. You end up with a certain number of people in a room, and if it's the right number, or you're stuck outside, or whatever, you end up dying. So it ends up being that we go through all this, Burt versus Ball of Fame for the final, and Ball of Fame takes the win. And so Ball of Fame gets a special reward out of this, and I hesitate to even call it a reward. It's every tribe is going to go the tribal. He just gets to pick the combination, which I guess is a nice thing to have, but you're still at risk of being eliminated no matter what you do. So it's kind of a crappy reward to me.
I think it's a good reward. Like, I mean, if you're not entirely useless, it's a good reward. But he's just using the wheel for everything, so you give it to anybody else and it's a good reward.
Yeah.
So if let's say Spheroid gets it, Arena gets it, ASAP, anybody that is using their brain to play, it's a good reward. Because you get to pick out your allies in the other tribes.
True.
You just get your selection of who's gonna go.
I guess for Ball of Fame though, and he ends up, I know we said he was wheeling, he ended up deferring, I think, to Burt on how to lay this out. But for Ball of Fame, does he have, we haven't really seen any indication that he's got allies across tribes, so I don't know. I guess I don't know if he would feel it's such a huge advantage for him personally.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think he's got connections. He's got some ties, ties with ASAP, ties with Timmy. So,
true.
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah. So they talk about it. Within their tribe, Burt, I think, is simply just thinking about numbers at this point. So he doesn't want to go to tribal with someone that outnumbers them, which I think made sense to me. Beast is making the point that since Ball of Fame is a wheel, it doesn't really matter if it's a 5v4 or 4v4 because Ball of Fame's random regardless of what they do. The end result being that Burt wins the argument there and convinces Ball of Fame that Red's fractured enough with Glizzy turning on his tribe and getting rid of Freak that there's a shot that they can come out ahead if they pair up with Red on tribal. So that's what they end up doing. So it's yellow and red, and then blue and green. So we get a dual tribal here in episode 3, which, generally speaking, kind of a wild development 3 episodes in. I don't know if you thought the same.
Yeah, no, I didn't really think about it, but I guess it is. I don't really know what to expect with 4 tribes, so like the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing kind of throws me off. But yeah, that's how many people are remaining after this?
So after this, we'll have eliminated 4, so it'll be 16 remaining.
So they could just do 2 tribes at that point.
Yeah, we see some people speculate about that later on. I think Stead maybe mentions it somewhere in there about how he's theorizing it could come to an 8, eight versus 8 2 tribe system here, and I guess we'll find out in episode 4 when it does come out. But I think some people are already thinking about that as we go into this double tribal.
Yeah.
And this is where, so we start getting into the different tribal beaches, and we start with blue and greens, and this is where we see, I think Timmy's blow up start to work against her, which I think somewhat predictably.
Yeah.
And honestly, like there's some talk of like going Robin-y here, but
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's even real. Like that's just for dramatic effect.
yeah. So from the reaction to episode 2's tribal and how she dealt with the aftermath, it felt like a fairly easy decision here to go Timmy. It seemed like a lot of people leaning that way. Long DMs, blah 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 blah. Unless you got something to say about those, but
No, I think like the whole thing, like this pretend divide is kind of funny. Like I don't think there was really any division about what would happen. Like it's kind of pretty clear.
you know,
So like Steroid D-Rec, they're tied with Rena. Like it's easy. Like this is an easy tribal for them. No real surprises, honestly.
So turns out to be an easy vote. Everyone votes for Timmy except for Blob, who I think is doing his go and get drunk thing, so he ends up not voting, which ends up as a vote for himself. So, like you said, an easy tribal, and like you were saying, a little bit of the persona in her final words. She didn't really care, but I guess she kind of cares, and now she's flaming people on the way out. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the other tribal, and this one may be a little more interesting. We get this great shot to start off the discussion. I guess I don't know what Beast does for a living, but this personality wheel I thought was hilarious. And I don't know how hard he actually leaned into using it when he was like talking with people during the game. But I thought that was really funny.
There is no chance he actually used it to help strategize. Like, yeah.
Let me ask, because Stead asked in chat, what color communicator I think I would be. Do you have a feel for which bucket you'd fall into?
What I would fall into?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm not. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think red.
I would agree.
However, like I think there's times where I'm able to use like different parts of each. But yeah, I mean, red kind of stands out.
Yeah, and I'm having trouble placing myself. I think my previous play showed I'm not really all that cautious. I don't know. It was tougher for me.
It's weird because there's like what I know of you like outside of Survivor, and then what you did in Survivor is like totally different.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard for me to paint myself. I think green fits my outside of Survivor personality more. I'm sure. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was kind of thinking yellow.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just know I'm not
like,
social in real life, so that's influencing me there. But
maybe it's like the streams and like your different shows you do. Yeah, I mean that's sociable. It's just in a different way.
True.
And demonstrative, enthusiastic.
That's all. I mean, that's all fair.
Yeah,
All right.
not cautious though, and definitely not precise.
Definitely not. All right. So moving on from that, similar to Timmy seeing her fall out, this one's a little more chaotic, but we still kind of get that through line of Glizzy turned on his tribe in the previous vote, and there might be, he might be getting punished as a result. We see his name pop up a lot in these discussions, which I think not surprising. The only other name that we see floated, I think, is Ball of Fame. I think simply because everyone hates the wheel.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And there's a lot of like mixed, like it seems like there's a lot of chaos going on, but again, it has to be for dramatic effect.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like playing with Fly and playing with ASAP, I think both of them kind of like to wait until the last minute to actually settle on a target. Because there were numerous times Fly would like hit me up 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago with like a different idea or something, and so it kind of adds to the chaos. So maybe it was chaotic. And then ASAP, you never know with ASAP. Like sometimes it seems like he likes to switch things 5 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there was really another target that they were considering, but
Well, speaking of that, I mean, they do include a nice little last minute scramble section with Glizzy trying to like save himself, and I think at that point you're pretty well convinced Glizzy's in trouble, because it seems like, and this is not exclusive. I guess this is Sadness and Steroids' way to edit these, but it seems like whenever I see that included at the end of a discussion before Tribal, it never pays off. And to your point, seems like mostly just for dramatic effect. So yeah, so we go on to the vote. It's again not particularly close. Ball of Fame draws 2 votes, and Glizzy gets the remainder. Couple uses of fire coins by both Ball of Fame and Glizzy. But it doesn't matter, and Glizzy goes home. Similar to Timmy, not a super surprising nor close vote. Yeah. So I guess he ends up regretting the move he made to take out Freak. Maybe he does wish in hindsight it was a move on Fly instead. And then we still have that kind of little nugget tucked away that he did talk about ASAP with Flaccid, and now that Glizzy's gone, does that cool off Flaccid from making any sort of move anytime soon? I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Favorite moment from the episode? I've been going first here. Do you have anything that jumps out to you?
It's not crazy, but I think it was a bit where Spheroid was talking about how he was surprised that people were so erratic. And then like I guess he thought that he could force people to do what he wants, but he's not maybe emotionally manipulative enough to do it. But then at the same time, it was like right after that or a little bit later, Russ was thinking that people were being too passive. So like I just thought it was interesting because like Spheroid's not maybe he's like trying to push people a little too much and not able to effectively do it yet, and then Russ thinks people are being passive, but maybe he's not leading enough or being as commandeering as he needs to be to push people. Like he was saying how he wished that somebody like stood up and like had a backbone about something. I guess like the vote on Timmy. I don't remember exactly. I just thought the dynamic there where Spheroid was saying that people were erratic and more strong-willed than he expected, and then Russ is like, they're too passive.
Yeah.
So it's just like opposite takes on the same tribe.
Yeah, it's a fun dichotomy. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Mine's less of a. I actually really liked your take. That was good analysis. Mine, I just love watching people crash out. So watching Timmy crash out, I know you said you were tired of it, but man, I think that's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So that,
I had to deal with it a lot. Like it was, I don't know. It's just tired for me. But
yeah. All right. So we do get a little teaser for episode 4. A swap is coming. So it's, I guess I don't know if I don't understand the lingo, but a swap I assume means, are we continuing on as 4 tribes, or could that still imply moving to 2 with 8
yeah,
apiece?
it could be either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll see how it shades out. I think going to 2 with 8 made sense. And then we'll see how the mechanism for how the swap's done. I think in the past, at least the season I played, swaps were done like Ishii was in control for or I'm trying to remember what happened. I think Ishii and Robney went to a separate beach and decided how to swap tribe members. So curious if we'll see something like that happen or if it's going to be completely random.
yeah.
Um, I guess we'll find out. And that's episodes 1 through 3. So that's the first 3 of the season. I guess any overarching takeaways from the first 3 episodes here?
Um, I maybe nothing really. I'm kind of interested to see if there really is going to be like this OPH and anti-OPH thing. I think that'll be cool. Just because of me, I'm biased. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
something that interests me. Um, so I'd like to see what happens with that. Um,
Stead does that's a good question. Maybe something we can discuss a little bit here. Who do we who do we think is in trouble at a swap versus who's in a good position come a swap?
oh
I think
gosh,
so. I think a swap could really benefit someone like Beast. It gets him off like a really weak, crappy tribe, and he's
yeah,
got plenty of connections across. I think across all tribes. Although maybe I'm overstating how he'll get along with ASAP and Flask and all them. But he's got I think he's got like Active and Rena, and I think he's got Steroid and D-Rec over on Green. I think there's some people he's worked with previously that he's got in event of a swap. So I like Beast positioning a lot. And then as far as someone who's in trouble, I think anyone else besides Beast on that yellow tribe. Like I think people, it just because people are fed up with Ball Fame and Button, and it seems like no one really cares for Burt. It just seems like they're easy votes if that's what it comes to. And so
yeah.
whatever they end up, it just doesn't feel like they have a lot of ground to stand on.
And I think the people in the most trouble, I would say Ball of Fame because like the more he's exposed to other people, with the whole wheeling
Mm-hmm.
shenanigans, I think the more people will be fed up with it, so he'll be a easy target to go. Um, let's see, would Robiny be in bad shape? Maybe.
It feels like the
It depends
tender.
because
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
like if he ends up with like Bambi or Spheroid, like somebody like that, or like anybody on his current tribe, like he'll be okay.
Oh,
So I think, well, I mean, anybody's at risk if they're on the wrong tribe.
sure.
So anybody you see up there is potential to go. Um, but yeah, I would look for Beast to have a good experience with a swap. Ball of Fame, I think he's got to go soon, I would assume.
That's my feeling too.
Um, so yeah, I think he's going to be hurt. I don't know if he, I don't know if he would really be hurt any more than like if it were the same. Like I think he's got to be gone, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Unless I mean, I guess you could
and I hope
maybe
so. I
like
hope he is because this is like it's just so stupid because everybody else is trying. Like
yeah,
everybody's playing. It's just annoying.
yeah.
I mean, it's different than Button too because Button's doing it. Like I think there might be some sort of strategy with it, and maybe he's like being real with certain people, and we just don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a difference between the two.
I agree. And I think especially as we get fewer in numbers, the impact of Ball of Fame's randomness becomes more pronounced. I guess is maybe the way I'd put it. It has more of an impact on a vote the fewer players that we get down to. And so
Yeah.
if I'm anyone else, I want to remove any elements of randomness that there are. So he'd be at the top of my list. Any other questions from chat here? I got a silly one from Beast Mode that I'll ignore.
What is it? I want to know.
He asks who I think is most likely to be a nameless Smurf this season. I don't know if there's any good candidates, to be honest with you.
I think, was it episode 1 where D-Rec was asking Rena if
yes, yes. Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
I mean, I guess I might, if I were I might make the case that Spheroid could secretly be you. Just because that he's like the oddest player out of the bunch. Although that'd be much harder, I think, to pull off than reincarnating Legit Nipple was. And then Refined asks, do we think it's meaningful that the first 4 people voted out were all people selected last or second to last by their tribe captains? That's an interesting ask. And they're in order on the image I've got on the stream. So Glizzy was last on his tribe, Timmy was second to last on her tribe, Freak was second to last on his tribe, and then Koos was second to last on his. I mean, clearly I think the captains are picking people as their allies first, right? So the further down you get on the list, not only are you not your tribe captain's preferred ally because you're available so late, you're really no one else's ally either. You know, like if you were, you would have been picked in the first 2 rounds probably. So I don't think that's, I guess, meaningful. I think it's just that made sense to me.
I think it's kind of meaningful because, like, if I'm forming a tribe and I'm picking people, I want 3 that are, or like 3, including myself, that are solidly with me. I don't know if I would, like, I don't know exactly how I would do it, but I know I would want somebody that would be easy to eliminate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that has to factor into it. I mean, of course not for Ball of Fame because it's not using his brain.
That's true. That's true.
But everyone else, I think they're intentionally picking people that they want to eliminate.
Yeah, makes sense to me. And then I think that we'll close on this. Flaccid asks who's our early favorites to win the game. I guess, do we each want to pick? I'm not sure. I know they do like Fantasy Survivor or whatever. I'm not quite sure how they do it, but do you just want to pick an early winner at this point, and we can do that every episode or every stream, I guess.
So what do we do? Just pick a winner, like each?
Yeah. Does anyone? Let's just, if you got, fire off the hip. Who's winning the season based on what we've seen so far?
Oh gosh.
I'm tempted to lean in a direction. Like, I think the obvious, well, maybe not obvious, but I think like the natural inclination is to pick one of the quote unquote strong players, even though that they will be targets because they are strong. But like, to me, so that's Fly, ASAP, Stead. I would say Rena's in that bunch. I'm honestly inclined to go away from maybe some of those stronger players, and I'm kind of leaning D-Rec at this point.
D-Rec?
Yes, I think he has a chance to win another here.
Wow.
And the reason I say that, we've talked ad nauseum about all the OPH connections in this game. Depending on how the swap goes, he'll be with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And seemingly so far, he's just really kept himself underneath the radar, which, from what I remember from his previous win, is very much how he operated in that season too. Like, he's loyal to the people he's loyal to. he doesn't really stir up much drama, and then at the end of the season, he's the one standing that wins.
Yeah,
So it seems
I
like he's on
mean,
a similar trajectory this time.
I think it okay, but the thing with Derek is there's a massive lack of activity.
How much of that is
And
narrative? Or are you saying that's what you saw from him when you played with him?
that is my
Okay.
experience. Very slow to respond, doesn't initiate conversations. I had to really work to try and get anything out of him or like even build a relationship with him because it was just he was one of the more inactive players.
Yep.
I mean, I think even Blob was more active for a good part of the game than Derek. So I don't know if he's gonna do the same thing. Like maybe he does. Like he has good connections. He's a very likable guy.
Yep.
So like if people do have the opportunity to connect with him, I think he's able to build relationships outside of the OPH bunch.
And I'll make the
Um,
argument. So I think it was episode 3, or maybe the end of episode 2. Like we did get some confessionals from Derek, suggesting that he was reaching out to other people. So
yeah,
maybe potentially a little more active than he's been in the past.
yeah. I mean, I'm just not really. I'm not sure I buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he doesn't really seem like a threat either. So, like, if you're looking at the OPH bunch, you're not thinking, well, let's go for Derek. Like,
Right.
he did just win. Like, even though, uh, was it deserved? I guess we won't get into that, but uh, I mean, he still got there,
Yeah.
and he got there. Like, people voted for him, like, voted against him numerous times, so
Mm-hmm.
he still survived. So, like no matter how salty I might be about it, like that's still saying something. He lasted. He lasted. He got there.
Yep.
Like people discredit Bambi for making it to the final three. He still got there.
That's
Like
right.
it's still a feat to do that. So, um, I guess it's just a surprising pick for me. Like I wouldn't pick Direct to go. I mean he did just win.
Mm-hmm.
But people might also be thinking the same thing. Well, this guy might not be a threat. It's interesting. I like that pick from you. I
I
didn't
appreciate
expect
that.
that.
Do you have someone in mind?
Oh gosh, there. I have a few people in mind, but um, I think it's really interesting with Spheroid. Like, I think he has a built-in advantage, so I think he has a really good chance. Stedman always has a good chance. Like, it doesn't matter what the makeup of a tribe is. Like, he's he's pretty much safe until later on, I think. Um, I'm with you on staying away from the big names. Like I don't think Fly or ASAP. Um, I I do like Russ a lot. Like I like
Okay.
how he's playing. I like how Flaccid Trip has like a pretty good setup, but I'm curious to see how that works like after the swap, like what happens then. Like is he able to um I guess have other connections like in a different makeup of the tribe. Uh I gotta say jeez. I also like Robiny too, and that's weird. Uh I think he'll be interesting to watch. I don't know if I could say that he would win, but he's he might be one of my favorites to watch. Uh, I guess I have to go with either. I got to go with Russ.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah. Well, it's
I don't-
interesting that, and I don't know if it really matters, but we both go former champions. I think is interesting. Um, and you've been slowly convincing me as we talked that Russ is playing actually a fairly good social game so far. So, and just close with Spheroid, who you like a lot. And then so as we get into a swap, that maybe that connection with Spheroid and some of the other OPH guys helps him live. And then I do speculate if there could be a bearing of the hatchet between Russ and ASAP at some point here in the future. I think that would be an
I mean,
intriguing twist.
I don't know. Even if there is, like, ASAP. So I think the very notable thing about ASAP is he said that he's not really um, trying to direct things this time. Like,
Okay,
he's
but
not
he
trying to be
says that
that
every
guy.
season, doesn't he?
No, like, I don't know. It's a different feel about it. I don't think he's doing it.
Okay.
I think he might be a little washed. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
I
I don't
guess
think
we'll
it.
yeah, I guess we'll find out as we move forward. But I think a really good 3 episodes to start the season off, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. Wait. So who do you think? Let's see here. So we think that Ball of Fame's out soon. Like, who do you
yes.
think you're? Like, other than that, who do you think are the next two out?
Um, it's a little harder, I think, after Ball of Fame because I think his elimination isn't dependent on how the swap turns out. I think he's an obvious target no matter what the swap looks like. I think as we start getting into other names, it gets a little more dependent on who's where.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, and I know you made that distinction between how Button was doing his gimmick versus how Ball Fame's doing his. I still think it's an annoying gimmick, and it's going to end up costing him at some point. Um, I think Button's probably ASAP reliant, and if he doesn't end up with ASAP post swap, I could see some issues for him. So I think he'd be my next one to go.
I think that's a pretty good pick.
Oh.
I also think Blob seems like he could be at risk, if he's not with D-Rec and
Yeah,
Spheroid. But like, he also has ties to ASAP too, so
true.
I don't know. And I think Fly might want to go for Blob, or maybe they have like a relationship from last season. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how the swap goes. Like,
Yeah,
especially if it's gonna be like four four people on four tribes. Like, that'll be kind of cool. But I don't know what I would prefer. Like,
I
would I prefer that or like two tribes of eight? Like,
yeah, I think I prefer 2 tribes of 8. I guess functionally it's not a whole lot different. I assume we would still be getting 2 tribes at
yeah,
Tribal if we still continued with 4 tribes. But I don't know. I like the large group dynamics, and there's a little more. Not sure quite the word is, but when your roster is set, like versus every week you're or every session you're going with a different tribe of 4, like knowing who you have, I think introduces some certainties, but then also some potential for bigger moves too, that feel a little more entertaining.
yeah,
You know, so we'll see.
yeah. Is we need to have like some sort of tracker for like fire coins and advantages.
That's a good thought. I do wonder. I might ping Sadness and see if he can work something up for us, because honestly, I don't really feel like
That'd be
tracking it.
cool.
Although if someone in chat wants to do that, that would be awesome. That would certainly help us discuss who's got what. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll plan to do this again. I suppose next week, based on Steroid's schedule. So hopefully we'll have an episode or two to work through if that works for you.
Yeah, I think I mean, he held off on one
Yeah.
because I was pretty busy yesterday and then today. And I got on like 1 minute right before this stream, so I, I had no extra time these last couple of days. So hopefully he has at least like three. We could go through three again.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nameless, I think this was a success, so I appreciate you hopping on and doing this with me.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
looking
fun.
forward to doing it the rest of the way. So,
Cool.
all right.
Yep, good time.
Have a good night, man.
All right, you too.
See you. All right, stream. Thank you for tuning in. A lot of fun. Really fun first 3 episodes. Refined. I saw you. Maybe we'll DM about it a little bit. I'm not. We're still working out the kinks of the format, I think. But overall, a good debut episode. Appreciate all the chats. Appreciate you tuning in. Keep your eye on the Survivor discussion channel for those fresh episode drops, and we'll be back here next Tuesday. So see you guys then. Take care.